Okay, mic check. Y'all should be able to hear and also see the screen. Mr. Blue here. Are y'all here? Mic check. Mic check, mic check. Okay, all checked out. Welcome, welcome, Mr. Blue here. TradePhantoms.com. Hey, Mark, Jackie, Montu, Jason Rodriguez. We got some phantoms in here. Aaron, what's going on, y'all? All right, cool. Trying to get this thing aligned. All right, so spend about an hour, give or take. Go through some pre-market prep routine, mainly futures and options, stock options. Would I have you focus on S&P and NASDAQ, gold? And I guess I should be okay there. All right, so today's date, just to put a timestamp on it real quick, Tuesday, February 4th, 2025. New month, so hopefully everybody did their books for last month, all that good stuff for their accounts, what you did good, what you did bad, journal. All right, we talked a little bit about that last week in the live trade rooms, but let's dive into the charts. Yeah, so just real quick, I will just take a quick peek at some economic news, not only for today, but maybe for the week as well. It's fairly quiet for the most part. Nothing too crazy this week. However, I will say today, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you can see this here, JOLTS job openings. So that's something something that you want to put on your radar, especially if you're trading off the open. Okay, so that's 30 minutes after the New York Stock Exchange opens, regular trading hours. Pretty quiet. You had President Trump speaking later when the markets are closed. And then we have, tomorrow we have a couple things too, ISM, ADP. Thursday, nothing other than the unemployment claims that comes out every week. And then Friday, we do have non-farm employment change, so NFP. So that could be a bigger, that's typically a big mover, typically for in terms of news, economic-wise. All right. We had a nice gap down this week, again, kind of similar to last week. This is forexfactory.com. There's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of them, but forexfactory.com is one that I usually just quickly go to because that's the one that I've been using for like the longest, I'd say. And it also puts not just the U.S. Economic news, also other countries as well. Yeah, no problem. I'm going to get straight to the charts, of course. Right now, it's pretty mixed in terms of just sectors-wise. On the right-hand side here, I got the S&P sectors, technology all the way down to utilities, the 12 sectors. So tech's coming out. You'll see with the NASDAQ in a moment too. Tech's a little bit more stronger pre-market so far. Communications as well. Google is kind of on fire, taking lead within that sector. Okay, we have this thing called sector rotation, which we go through, and so that's a big deal there. Bitcoin continuing to just range there for some cryptos. All right, there's a bull run happening still right now. Bitcoin's kind of dying a little bit. It's ranging after November's rip to the upside there. It's gonna let me know whether we're risk on or risk off as well. And we got VIX gapped up again this week, but so far we faded back down. But I'll get back to that in a moment. Let me go over here to the charts I'm going to be pulling up here, Think or Swim. All right, so, and I will start this off too, I guess, formally here. We always want to start with multiple time frame analysis, okay, with, demand, institutional supply. From a top-down approach, multiple time frame analysis. So this is checklist that I kind of bring up every morning, almost every morning, right? Monthly, weekly, daily. So these are very very important to understand, even if you're a short-term day trader scalper. What's going on, Eric A? What's going on, brother? Bumblebee Tuna to you too. Orange, yellow, blue is the color code. Everything you see in orange has to do with the monthly time frame. Yellow would be weekly, and then blue would be the color code designation daily. Okay, so monthly, weekly, daily. Candlesticks, okay, the great bunch of fancy names, but location of these formation of candlesticks are going to be most important. Bearish candlesticks, bunch of cool names, great, but location is going to be most important. Okay, and then we have the liquidity map, which we discuss in detail, of course, with more due time. Okay, this is the key here. Okay, putting it all together fractal wise. I will switch over multiple time frame fractal wise. Switch over to just the major 4 indexes here on a daily time frame. S&P futures upper left, NASDAQ futures upper right, Dow Jones futures lower left. Get the Russell 2000 bottom right, small caps. Pop open the daily time frame of S&P futures. All right, and I'll just try to keep a long story short here. Very rangy so far, right? So we had a beginning of the new year. Already had a little bit of a 5% correction. We were talking about levels here to the left. Okay, all-time highs here. We took a visit on the S&P here up into the all-time highs last month, 124. Last Friday, the 31st of January. Okay, we almost kissed that and visited that again. We were live trading on last Friday. We had a nice little move up, rally. Okay, and then later afternoon when they said tariff talks were going to take effect coming this week. Okay, markets kind of took a turn, right? Late Friday, I'd say kind of later afternoon Friday, and then it kind of sold off. So a bit there, right? And so, I will say this, new regime, not only just in politics, and we want to keep politics aside, of course, but I will also say just on the charts as well, without getting too weird and down a rabbit hole right now. I've been doing this quite some time. The tape, the price action, the CTAs, the bots, the algorithms that everybody's so scared about these days in retail trading, right? Which you shouldn't be scared of. It did change a little bit. All right, if I had a little more time, I'll speak a little bit about that. In the live trade room, we have a lot more time. But what I'm saying here in short is just get ready. Get ready for just some volatility. Okay, I'm not calling for a market just ripping to the upside, and I'm also not calling for like a market crash that everybody on social media is mentioning, right? Oh, it's just going to crash the economy. Everything's going to be bloodbath, crash. So as always, you just want to remain in control. Okay, trade the tape and things like that, right? So the point that I'm trying to make right now, just for today, okay, without going down too much a rabbit hole and the TED talk too early in the morning right now, we're back in the middle of the range, okay? So we have this pivot low so far that got put in last month. So this is last month's low, January's low, which you should be mapping out based on this. Make sure you do that in your charts. Okay, you'll see it on my charts in a moment. Okay, one of the first things you want to do is map out last month's high, last month's low. Okay, because that's going to be a major hit point for understanding whether we're outside or inside what's called the outside or inside month. Okay, also for some liquidity, right? Liquidity sweeps potentially. Okay, so we're off the highs. Okay, Okay, and we're off the lows of January. And where are we? We're in the middle. Okay, we're in the middle. So just trade trade safe. Okay, it's a little hard right now. It's a little bit harder, I will say, to work on a trade so what the data has told me last week for my own personal trading accounts is my runners. I always try to leave runners on, and if I'm on the right side of the market, ride. Okay, and what I've been noticing for the last month of January, looking at my trading account performance, my trading account's performance. Closing the books for January is the runners have been not really running. Okay, to keep a long story short. Okay, so right now we're in a marketplace as it stands right now where you might want to be taking some profit a little bit more aggressively, protecting yourself a little bit more aggressively, because it's harder to get this market to really work on a trade and have it go. I used to give you an example, I would have trades that I would be in for maybe like a day trade, okay, but then I rolled the options and I could potentially be in a trade for like 3 weeks. Okay, Tesla, for example, okay, started out with a day trade like on a random Tuesday or Wednesday with that setup, okay, but then the way that the daily bar closed, the way that the weekly, monthly was aligning. I'm like, this is good. I'm going to turn this into a swing trade and even add to it, right? Add to winners. It's not happening as much right now, right? Now that could change as always, but as you can see, the market and the S&Ps have been quite rangy, okay? All the month of January, we came down, we came up, now we came back down in the middle, okay? And even Friday, I was really working on a trade for Tesla. And it looked like it was really going to be setting up at the close for a potential putting that into a swing, but then it couldn't even get that far. All right, I had to get stopped out of a Tesla trade. So I was like, forget a swing trade. All right, you're getting stopped out right now for your runners. So forget adding, right? So anyways, there you go. So this is where your skill set is really going to shine when this market's not as easy as what it was in just, the past 2 years, 2023, 2024, bull market, just any, buy the dip situation, right? Condition, not like that as much anymore. Okay, so you got to roll up your sleeves and do more and do work. All right, do work. So you'll see the prices in a moment on the darker background when I switch over. All right, just for right now, the S&Ps, basically, it's pretty quiet right now, right? So yesterday's close was here, green bar here, and then we had a little slight gap up here. Slight gap up here, and you can see, we have red bar down. We'll map out our Globex high, Globex low. All right, and we already have some levels mapped out lower and higher, so we'll discuss that. NASDAQ, I can say the same thing, other than NASDAQ has not, or I should say did not visit its all-time highs. I've been mentioning that for now a couple of weeks, right? Have these couple levels here, okay, levels down here. So again, we're, kind of in the middle, okay? Unfortunately, right? That's not typically the best place to be, okay? Because we want to have, areas of supply or demand, okay, to work off of. All right, but we'll drill down to the small time frames and check some things out. All right, and I'm just going to save some time here on the Dow Jones and the Russell 2000. Dow Jones, I will say, made an all-time high real quick on Friday, okay, before the tariff information, tariff reminder that they're going to take effect, this week, okay, which was last Friday. It kind of made that market, kind of popped out a little bit here. All right, let me switch over to the darker background here. I got monthly on the left to give you the lay of the land, monthly time frame on the left, weekly time frame in the middle, daily time frame on the right. So monthly, weekly, daily. Okay, so just make sure you're mapping out your last month's high, last month's low, last week's high, last week's low. Okay, super important there. And then I have the 60-minute time frame upper left, 30-minute time frame bottom left, 5-minute time frame here in the middle, 2-minute time frame here on the right. All right, so starting from the high time frames, dropping down to the smaller time frames. All right, you want to know where you are on each time frame. Pop open the 60-minute time frame, 1 hour time frame of the S&P futures. And one of the first things that we want to do is map out what's called our Globex high and Globex low. So which is a fancy word for overnight high, overnight low. So I'm going to take this blue line here. Again, 1 hour time frame of the S&P futures. There's their Globex high. All right, comes in at about 60, 69, rounding up to 60, 70, give or take, right? Tick or two, rounding up, just to keep it simple. Globex low, where's the lowest point that we went overnight so far? All right, is represented by right there. And Thinkorswim, which is the broker that I'm using right here, grays out the overnight session, so you can kind of easily see what's the overnight session, Globex session, and the regular trading hours in the darker background here. So we're about to begin in about 30 minutes, give or take, the regular trading hours. So there's the Globex high, Globex low. All right, now we had a couple levels down here, aggressive, so on and so forth with the markets. So these are last week's price points, right? So we had some levels of supply above Globex high last week. We had some levels of Globex demand below Globex low last week. And as I was mentioning to the group, a lot of these levels here, okay, which inevitably, on Friday we kind of came down. S&P's closed at 60, 65, which is the level that we had pinned. Okay, but then the market's closed. Okay, even futures for the weekend. Okay, so we closed there, but then we had a gap down. So we had another gap down. Okay, in futures, Nasdaq, S&P's, just hyper focusing on those two products right now. So we had another gap down to begin this week. Okay, due to the quote unquote tariff talk. Is it possible to gray out after hours in TradingView? Potentially, I'm sure there's a way to do that. Maybe, I'm sure there's a way to potentially do that. But I usually look at the overnight session. I think I swear, but if I'm sure there's a way to do that. If you go on YouTube or something, you could probably do that. Yeah, it looks like Aaron's already helping you out there. You can use the indicator trading sessions. Yeah, you could probably use it. Yeah, and then put all the sessions same color. That'd probably be the way. So there you go. Teamwork makes the dream work. There, Aaron got you covered. Indicator trading sessions. Probably put them all in the same color. Mark, if that's what you wanted to do, brother. All right, cool. So there you go, helping out people, helping traders, which is good. Okay, so we had started out the gap down again this week. All right, just similar to last week. Okay, where we had started out the week with a gap down. We flushed down more aggressively, I would say, last week, just because we gapped down last week and then we faded higher for the remainder of the week. Does not mean it's going to happen again this week, but we are starting off with that gap right there. So we had a close on Friday evening, and then we opened on Sunday evening down here. Okay, now yesterday we already filled that gap. Okay, we rallied up and we filled that gap. So this was left as a gap, and then you could see, yesterday we had a rally, right? We rallied up and we already filled that gap. So I don't need to talk about it that much, but one thing I will do is I'll clean this chart up just a little bit here, take that line off. I'll keep this, box right there to know, we had some kind of stuff there, which wasn't great, right? It was aggressive. We gapped down below that, right? We also gapped down below this level too, as well. So you couldn't even really trade this level because it happened overnight. Okay, gap down. So we still came down to this level down here, which we had pinned, okay, which was an basing impulse for quite some time now on the daily time frame, IBI, and we already tested that last week on that gap down, flush down, and then we gap down into it again. So this is, again, this location of this demand zone right here is in the middle, okay, is in the middle of what? Middle of the all-time high in the S&Ps and the basically last month's low, which is January, which was the first time back into that level. Okay, so you want to be very careful with this level now, because the more time that this level gets hit, the less reliable it's going to be. However, right now, as it stands right now, we are still holding on this level here. All right, and that price is, give or take about, call it 59.75 handle down into the 59.45 level. Okay, so we want to be careful with this level, of course, as mentioned, because it's not super prime anymore. All right, but if we were to break Globex low and we were to come lower, could we use this area here as a potential Globex trap? I would say yes. All right, but I'm going to put you got to put a note here saying that this is going to be super aggressive. Okay, so you might even want to be looking at the 59.40 handle down in here in S&P futures for a potential bullish what's called a Globex trap long. I'm not going to put a note on that. Okay, one of the things that you might want to do to be more, I would say, conservative, okay, would be the 5,900 price point right down in here, because this is an basing impulse that has not been tested yet, and it's a bit more lower on the range or the curve, if you will, which we go through a whole process of understanding what that is. Okay. But know that that is also the overnight trading hour session that the level of demand was developed. Okay, so you might want to even, so these are the couple levels below that level here. Okay, another one that I'm looking at in terms of a price point here, 58.55. Okay, 58.55. Okay. Okay, so we got 58.25 down here too as well. So a couple levels here in the event that S&Ps really do snap this mid-level here and come lower. Okay, these could be, I got already notes there, so I don't need to waste time on that. G-trap long, 5,900, 59.88, I'm sorry, 5,900, 59.55, 58.25. All right, I know I talk fast, but you got to catch up. All right, Globex trap short. We could look at this level here. There was an unfilled gap up here, all right, that we talked a bit about for all last week. Filled that gap, came up, and the market fell. Okay, that's where the market dropped off that tariff note, right? Could we use this today as a reference point for a Globex trap short? Now it's not an unfilled gap anymore. Whoops. So we can update that note here. All right, so this would just be G-trap short now. It's called the Globex trap. We cover that one more time. That comes in at about 61.31. Okay, we've rallied, a bit of a basing, and then we dropped. pretty significant there. Okay. Other than that, anything above there, we have the 61.61. I'm sorry, 61.34. That's the all-time high. So, pretty easy on the upside to lean against because there's only, basically two levels. Okay, there's only two levels up here. Okay, 61.31, 61.64. All right. Right now, S&Ps are, we gapped up a little bit and we faded down, and we're just kind of on VWAP right now. It's very balanced right now, so just be patient. I'm gonna switch over to, and the location of where we are right now is a little tricky as well because we're in the middle of the range. Nasdaq, whoa. All these notes from last week. Took a beautiful trade in Nasdaq last week to close out the week long. Actually took the trade inside of one of the live rooms, a class. We were supposed to be focusing on class, but we're like, screw the professor. We're gonna play. We're gonna trade, and so it turned out to be a really good trade. Got in Thursday evening, took profit on Friday, and let it run. I wanted to hold over the weekend, but trailed my stop and order filled got stopped because of that tariff talk. Anyways, moving on. Globex low, Globex high. There's Globex low. Here's the Globex high. So all notes here. Again, levels, yes, okay. Aggressive, you see aggressive. Got swiped out. All right, couldn't even trade. Same thing, closed there last Friday. Gap down here. Okay, so you see a gap on your charts, right? That's a gap. All right, so I'll just take these lines off just because you were aggressive anyways, but we couldn't even trade them because it gapped down. So same thing. So we had this fade up last week, right? We had a gap down last week, then we faded higher. Late Friday, boom, slap down, gap down. Okay. Now we are going on another. So far, we're doing the same thing, very similar to last week, where we gapped down, but we're fading higher. Now, just because we did this last week, where all week we faded up on the gap down, and we have a gap down this week again, does not mean that's going to happen again. All right, but it's kind of interesting because it is kind of acting the same as last week. All right, so we'll see. Right, Globex high, Globex low. All right. Yesterday, we had a rally. All right, is there level of demand below Globex low? Yes, but I want to be extremely careful with these levels down in here. All right, this is Sunday evening's level, so I'm not even gonna really put a price on that. All right, so you might be looking at the 2875, 20,800, 20,750. So there's a couple of levels down in here that you can maybe look at for a Globex trap long. Okay, again, saying the same thing here, but very similar. This level is not fresh. Okay, so it got developed over here. All right, tag there last week, and we almost hit it again this week. Okay, but if we were to break this little upward channel right now, we break lower, that could be a potential Globex trap long down in here. Globex trap short, we had a gap fill right there. Perfect. All right, I was mentioning to the team, make sure we take profit. We have communications as well for the team and the group. Everybody helping each other out, as you can see here, even in this chat. Okay, just mentioning, hey, we're at the gap. Okay, make sure you take us a profit. We also had a note here that take profit from longs. Okay, if you're long, take profit from longs. Okay, and then this could be a Globex trap short, which is a note that left on last week. That's where Friday late afternoon, early morning, we rallied up into that. Late Friday afternoon, tariff talks came down. Okay, blah blah blah, saying the same thing. Point that I'm trying to make is we could still reference this point. Okay, this is not fresh or prime, but we can still look at this area 21,907, give or take. Okay, it's not an unfilled gap anymore, so I'll take that note out because it was an unfilled gap last week. Okay, they filled it on Friday, and now it's a level of supply. Okay, because it dropped down pretty significantly there. Okay, so 21,907, and then I got the 22,045, 22,001. Rounding up, 120 handle, give or take up there. Okay, so that could be potential for a Globex trap short there. Okay, I might be saying, well, Mr. Blue Man, that level's all the way up here, or that level's all the way down here. Yes, indeed. Okay, there's a phrase in trading, don't diddle in the middle. Okay, don't diddle in the middle. So right now, even as Nasdaq futures on a 1 hour time frame is what you're looking at right now, is we're in the middle of Globex high, Globex low, and you can see we got the VWAP right there in the middle. We got 20, the 50 EMA on the 1 hour time frame, all hovering here in the middle. Okay, so in the middle, And if I look at the daily time frame, okay, in the weekly time frame, again, we're in the middle, okay? So Malcolm in the middle, right? So just be, be very patient, be very diligent, okay? Know when to put on risk, know when to not put on risk. So right now, SPYs, Qs, NASDAQ, S&Ps, gotta be patient with them. Gotta be patient with that. All right, moving on. Gold, on the other hand, are doing beautiful things. Monthly up, weekly up, daily up. All right. Monthly time frame on the left, weekly time frame here in the middle, daily time frame on the right. So gold is in what's called alignment, okay, where the higher time frames are in sync, okay, meaning everything bullish, right? Doesn't mean that we can't come down, okay? We want it to come down so we can enter long, right? So if I go back over to futures and switch over into the smaller time frame, albeit 60 up here in the upper left, 30-minute down here, I'll just pop open the 60-minute time frame and we'll map out our global. Oops, this is S&P, quarter GC, gold futures. All right, and with the team, humbly speaking, I've been mentioning to the team, bullish gold, bullish gold, bullish gold, seasonality-wise, bullish. There was just a bunch of things lining up that gold is going to continue its rally up, okay? Anyways, long story short, I don't know if anybody caught this level. We had this level pinned out here. Okay, demand zone 28.15, pulled back beautifully. We had an all-time high at one point at 28.02. Okay, so we broke, that's why I have this level all the way over here. We broke that and we came down and retested that, okay, as well. So it was one supply, now demand on the other side. All right, and that was at, we had this level of demand, impulse, basing impulse, pretty simple level right there. All right, gold this week, this is Sunday, dropped right down into that level. Okay, I'm not sure if anybody took that trade, okay, with Phantoms, and then we made a new all-time high in gold. Okay, so beautiful stuff. Gold has been beautiful lately. If I'm mapping out the Globex high here and Globex low, which is represented there by these kind of blue lines there, I'm looking for institutional level of demand below Globex low. And if I look down and left, we do have a little level right there. Okay, so this could be utilized for a G-trap long, bullish. Now this level was developed overnight. Okay, so be careful with this one. Okay, but that price comes in at about, I'll just copy and paste this line here to maybe save a couple of seconds. 28.30. Gold futures, 1 hour time frame. Gold futures, 1 hour time frame. That level is so bright. Let me dim that down a little bit so y'all can see the price action. There we go. All right, good. Now we dipped down to this level and rally back out. So I would still keep this line and area of demand on this. I'll put the prices on the hard right edge here so y'all can see it a bit better. That comes in what, 58.15, give or take. Okay. So yeah, not bad here. There is there's demand. All right, there's demand below Globex low, and because gold has been such it's coming out of a level of basing that we've been talking about for a little while now, right? If you notice a couple of weeks ago, what we were talking about is gold's been rangy, small candles here on the weekly. It's just been kind of quiet. Daily's been up, down, up, down, up, down, basing, but that's okay. You need to do that because the market needs to build more steam and pressure, right? Accumulation wise, distribution wise. So this is good. The reason why gold is breaking up a lot more fiercely over the past week or two, I'd say actually for the 4 weeks, the month of January, is due to a couple things, right? I'm sure everybody's like, oh, because everybody has reasons why, right? New politics, all this kind of stuff, right? Oh, the world's going to end, right? The world's always ending. I hear that every day. Right, still alive. The seasonality-wise, January is one of the big, stronger seasons, okay, for gold. But also, even more important than that, is we were in a period of consolidation for quite some time, multiple weeks. We were inside monthly bars for 2 weeks. So it's been boiling. Okay, then boom, we have a positive COG, and then we have fall through breakup. Okay, so that's the thing. Markets want to move, but sometimes they go quiet. They hibernate for a little bit. All right, over here, range, and then now we're finally start to actually break out with some authority and conviction. Okay, coming out of hibernation. Okay, to give the weird analogy there. In short, Globex trap long 2830s. Okay, and 2815s. You can reference that. We also have that 2800 level as well, right below there too. So that could be an area where markets could potentially swipe down and provide some liquidity sweep. In addition to that, okay, There's an unfilled gap here too at 2773. So you might want to put a emphasis note there. Okay, that was the mother bar high in November that broke. Okay, and if this, remember, we could have a deeper correction on gold. All right, and this is the new level in control down here. If I had more time, I'd explain that. All right, head up phantoms.com. All right, go through the process there. You'll understand what that means. Okay, it's beyond the scope and time that I have here for today. But down in here, the 2775, just rounding. Okay, and then 2750 is going to be a nice little major hit point as well in said gold for entering potential swings. Okay, so here I'll even take a note, copy and paste it from here, and swing that over to this area location right here. All right, and what I'll do here is I'll put, is it a weekly? It's not a weekly level, it's gonna be daily. So I'll just put that blue. It's a new daily level in control. So I'll highlight that blue. What does blue mean on the color code sequence? Just personally, yours could be different, doesn't matter. All right, I don't put everything in green and everything in red because I wanna know time frame designation. Okay, the differences. So that's blue, so I know that I'm on a 60-minute time frame right now, but I know I'm going fast, but that's a new higher high level of control on daily. All right, so anything in this box is going to be nice. We have impulse basing impulse and a gap fill right in here. So 2750, 2775 for a potential swing long entry. All right, we have to wait for that though, right? Because we're not there yet at that level. All right, but for today, day trade wise, 2830s. 2885, 2815s. All right. Globex trap short. I mean, yes, I'm sure there's going to be a short. Price is going to come down eventually, but typically you want to do what's called a front side entry equal to or higher high. Okay, and then you want to limit into that, but there's no level of supply to lean against, so it's a bit more advanced. Okay, you need to know maybe your ATR, standard deviations, maybe a Fibonacci extension, something like that. And again, that's still going to be tricky and kind of lucky because it's just okay. Gold's ready to where people are going to distribute, take profit, and then where some shorts come in, but there's no level to the left to lean against, so that's going to be a bit more complicated, right? On selling short on negative COGs, you could do that. Okay, but just be careful because once we get into a level of demand, these markets, this is gold. Okay, it's just fishing out not even the greatest level of demand, and we're continuing higher because we have alignment on the monthly, the weekly, and the daily time frame, and also seasonality wise, right? So if I have more time on that, which we typically do, we go over what's called liquidity. Okay, liquidity here. Okay, and this is what this is what I try to train traders to do, right? So we would need to equal to or higher high. Extension, I'd say 2 standard deviations maximum out, okay, or minimum out, I should say, 2 standard STDs out, and for what's called a mean reversion, okay, mean reversion trade, balance back to mean. All right, but that's a bit more advanced. I'm gonna transition here to the VIX. All right, want to learn a little more about that, go to TradePhantoms.com. There's a evening class, I believe, yeah. VIX. Again, same thing. VIX is a bit elevated, nothing too crazy. VIX is VIX, Volatility Index, 30-day implied vol of the S&P. All right, got another gap up this week from Friday evening to Sunday. All right, so we had another gap up. So far, yesterday we kind of faded down. All right, so we had gap up, vol compression, vol spike, and then vol compression, volatility wise, not volume, volatility, major difference there. All right, we map out yesterday's high, yesterday's low. Right now the VIX is down, to sub 3%. Okay, pretty normal. All right, if we continue to fade lower, I'll map out the overnight high, overnight low on this as well. All right, so that was VIX on a daily time frame. We have VIX overnight high here, represented by that gray space here, and that white line here. Overnight high, overnight low down in here. All right, so if VIX, think of inverse correlation, the opposite. So if VIX takes out, say, the overnight high and continues to trend higher, okay, that could be more bearish. Okay, I usually just mark it off in the middle here, wherever the last time I saw it, so I can see what changed since I last checked it. It's kind of like a gauge, like checking the weather radar, right? For rain, snow, whatever, weather-wise. Okay, and then I got the overnight low down in here. So if we continue to break the overnight low and grind lower, that could be more bullish for the market. So VIX down, market up. Okay, VIX up, market down. A lot more to that, okay, but just to keep it simple for right now. Also using yesterday as a quick little reference, okay, so we had a spike up off the open yesterday in VIX, but then we just, slammed down, and then we just kind of sustained down, and we remained on lows for the most part, okay? And then now we're back down here, fairly low, right? So again, we're just gonna keep an eye on that as always. All right, we got SPYs. All right, as you can see, I'm getting a lot of, last week's low here, last week's high here, last month's low here, last month's high here. So the market, listen, y'all, the market is telling us that this is going to be quite rangy. Okay, last month's high up here, last month's low down here, last week's high here, last week's low. Hey, that's wrong actually. Update that. I think I moved it for a second there. This is last week's low here. All right, a couple of other tickers, I'll say, are wide range as well. So we have last month's low here, last month's high here. Okay, and so very nice wide range here. Okay, nice wide range here. So typically you want to be in the proper location of closer to demand or closer to supply. Okay, closer to demand or closer to supply, which is one of the questions that I have here marked off when you're going through your morning routine. Now, I'm experienced. I just go through this very quickly. Of course, I'm not going to open up this book and just like read stories to you, right? But I will say this: this is always, what's the monthly movement, right? Up, down, sideways, or trending. And then the question here is: are we closer to monthly demand or are we closer to monthly supply? Okay, that's a question right there that you need to ask yourself, right? And if I were to answer that right now, is neither. We're in the middle. Here's a pre-market quote for S&Ps, which is right in here. All right, and we're kind of in the middle of this all-time high, which is last month's high, and then we have last month's low down in here, which is the unfilled gap that we were talking a lot about here. And so again, that's what I'm mentioning here is that you can even see we've been rangy, right, for this month, for this year. Okay, we had a down clip, up clip, down, low, 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 high, low, 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 high. Okay, then daily broke this. Okay, tagged the all-time highs here, and we could not continue to punch with any follow through up here. Okay, Fang is having a little trouble right now, like Nvidia, all that kind of stuff, right? So on and so forth, and then we broke that, but then we're coming right back down. So again, I'm expecting a rangy market at least for Q1. Okay, which I even mentioned before this range even came about. Okay, for the team. All right, so just be diligent. Okay, be patient. Okay, it's very hard to call if this market's gonna be bullish or bearish right now. Okay, it's kind of a day by day, week by week kind of jam here. All right, so no gap today, which is what I'll say here as a key takeaway to keep it moving here. All right, yesterday's close here. I'm on a daily time frame of SPY, by the way. I know you might not be able to see that ticker. Hopefully y'all can see it. Bring it up a little bit there. All right, and we're in the middle of that, right? No gap, so I'll just move on and Qs. So I'm going to be just extremely patient off the open here, which I always am, but Qs, same thing, right? Maybe simple price action here for last year, all right? Move down, but we just would fade higher, right? Not this year. Only 1 month in. All right. So again, Fed Day 18th kind of changed the regime a bit there. All right, and then choppy, low, high, choppy at weekly down here. Again, last month's high here, last month's low here. Where are we? NASDAQ is dead smack in the middle in terms of location, like literally equal from the highs and equal from the last month's low January tag right there, which we had a weekly level down there as well. Okay, again, snagged this, broke this, could not go higher high. Okay, and then boom, right back down, gap down in here. Okay, this black line right there that you see there is yearly VWAP, right? But we're not done for the year. We're only in January, okay, or February, I should say. Okay, so that's basically last month's VWAP, but I'm using that. I'm going to leave that on for the whole year. Okay, and you can see just referencing from last year's VWAP. All right, look at last year. Yesterday was we just faded up. We had one little dip down, a couple dip downs, and we just continued to fade up. So far this year, we've been above, below. Okay. The yearly VWAP, but it's only January, right? So we'll see. So again, that's just telling me right now, choppy market. Okay, here's the new beginning of the year. Okay, we were above it, we were below it, we were above it, we were below it. Now we're on it. We're literally on it. So we're opening up again, like I said, on balance right now. Okay, even with all the stuff that's in the headlines, there's always going to be headlines, right? There's always a story. People like to tell stories. All right, and give you reasons. All right, I trade the tape. All right. What the price action is doing right now. Whew, tough one right now because we're in the middle. Apple. had earnings last week. All right, we had a beautiful monthly level down in here. I was actually hoping that it came down a bit more deeper into there. All right, had some sold puts, great, old, got out of them. Got a gap up on Apple on earnings. All right, we just faded, we just faded down, and then last Friday, gap down on it. And again, so even Apple right now is quite rangy. All right, if I look at a bigger picture. All right, and again, it's going to be a trader's market right now. It's going to be hard for, again, as mentioned in the morning, I was mentioning how it's hard to get a little bit more of a swing to really go follow through for multiple days. So and that's what my data has mentioned for the month of January. So I already mentioned that, but I see a couple people came in here, so you might want to run the recording when this is done. I mentioned that. All right, so it's going to be like a trader's market right now, a little more aggressive on taking profits and a little more aggressive on management. Okay, a lot of runners getting stopped out, break even. All right, maybe a little bit of give back, things like that. So I already kind of discussed that a little bit there. But as far as the gap for today, Apple slight gap down, no big deal. Just map out your levels. Last week's high, last week's low here. There could be a bit of a liquidity sweep potentially today, tomorrow, give or take. All right, below last week's low, we have a monthly level down in here, that 220 handle. All right, again, it's a monthly level. It's a monthly level here. All right, but it's not, it's not tested. It's been tested already, so it's not prime or fresh. All right, I'm not sure if Apple's going to swipe down here, but it could potentially. My next level down here is going to be 198 on Apple, so that's my next level where I'm just going to start to sell some puts. All right, for options traders. All right, we have unfilled gap from from Friday from yesterday, so you might want to pin that as well. That comes in about 235. Amazon, a bit more stronger, holding up. Last month's high, last month's low. Last month's low is down here. All right, last week's low, last week's high here. Apple, not Apple, Amazon. Slight gap up, inside gap. It's a bit more stronger than others, at least for right now, holding off of coming off of, I should say, last week. All right, so decent there, but again, be careful as always. Rangy market, AVGO, been tricky a little bit for even somebody as experienced as myself, humbly speaking. Earnings gapped up, been rangy. Then we had a massive gap down, deep seek. And then we've been inside bar, and then all last week we just been inside bar as well. So be careful with that. Google earnings tonight. All right, outside gap, close to all-time highs. Tesla, working off a trade. Tesla is. So yesterday I managed to snag some sold puts down in here. I'm going to continue to manage those. I already had some sold puts down here for earnings. I still have a bought debit up here that's not going to be working out. Yesterday's low here. We just opened. I wanted to check Microsoft and NVIDIA's gap up. NVIDIA. AMD, island gap, AMD, which is typically bullish. Island gap up is bullish, but AMD is going opposite of whatever the markets do. Microsoft been a little bit more weaker, but let me get some internals here. Kick off the morning. Yeah, AMD is just doing it's just market down, AMD up. Market up, AMD down. It's one of the weaker ones in semiconductors, but it's just random. It's just doing random things right now, which is good. You kind of almost want that sometimes, But again, it's been tough. AMD is like one of my favorite tickers, but lately it's just been a little tough. Yeah, AMD. Let me see earnings. Yeah, after close, AMD and Google, Snap, those are the big ones there. We got Amazon later this week. Just put the location that AMD is in. Just go bullish. I think the surprise on AMD. I want to see what the Yak spot is looking like on AMD, which I should be loading right now. This is more advanced, but I'm gonna lose most people that are just visiting the channel on YouTube. But obviously y'all can probably tell I love to trade. This is what I do for a living. Been doing it for a long time now. But with the way markets have been ranging and where the S&Ps and Nasdaq are dead smack in the middle, just want to be patient. All right. So I actually want to check. Let me see if I get some insight on AMD earnings here. Tesla sold put, Sanjay. You could just get out of those. They expired worthless. You should be out of those by now because they expired worthless last week. Sold them for $3 and they're at zero. But I do have a debit spread on that I still have. I TP'd some as mentioned because we bought them for like $2 or $2 and they were going for like $3. I TP'd some again. I left some runners on, okay, because last Friday was looking decent close, but then markets dropped down. So as I was mentioning in the morning, it's hard to get something really going for a swing trade follow through. So you got to adapt. It's got to adapt. I'm a little bit more hit it and quit it a little bit more, right? Nail and bail, in out, in out. All right. Y'all know me. I love holding on to runners. Okay, really working on a trade. But it's been tough January. All right, my data has been mentioning that. I mentioned that. All right, so as I mentioned last week in the classrooms, in the trainings that we have, you got to do your work and your accounting work for your accounts. And my runners have just been not running. There's no runners. It's been getting cut off by the knees. What's going on, Luke? Looks like somebody has a spread here. Gold is gold do high if you want to TP some. If you're long gold, ES is rangy right now. What I'll say is I want to at least see at a minimum. We have 10 a.m. news as well, but I want to see if we can get a positive COG close above there. So when I see something like this, like when the 20 and the 50 EMA, and I'm on 30-minute time frame right now, and the VWAP is right there. Look at those moving averages right there. They're literally all on top of each other. So just be patient, y'all. All right. Right now it's like a 50-50 bet, and I'm not here to make a living off 50-50 bet. I need edge. All right. So I mentioned this. In the middle of range, right? I mentioned this in the middle of the range, in the middle the Globex range, in the middle of daily. Be patient on that, y'all. All right. Let's see. Snow outside gap. Outside gap on snow. Decent monthly close last week. Snow's looking somewhat interesting. Outside gap, but let me see AMD because AMD had what's called an island gap. It's not the strongest one there, but probably work on it for earnings. Netflix trying to finally break outside of its earnings. It had earnings gap up, and then all of the past 2 weeks after earnings have been inside the mother bar of the earnings day there. So again, just want to be a little careful with that one. NVIDIA out the gate here, long call, decent. I can already tell. How do we play with mother bars? Wait for the break. Yeah, you can either trade the range on the high and the low of the mother bar for what's called fakey breakies, or you wait for the bars to close above and below, which you still have to deal with a bit of fakey breakies. But if I had a little more time, hopefully that helped right there. Just a quick little short answer. We do go in a bit more discussion in our trainings. But yeah, when on the mother bars, map out the mother bar high, mother bar low, trade the range, but don't no diddling in the middle. Okay. You can do option strategies, iron condors, things like that. But eventually it's gonna break. It's gonna break, right? Like look at gold as an example. We were inside of a mother bar on the monthly, then we were in like 4 weekly bars inside weekly. Okay, but then we started to break and close. Okay, break and close, all right, above it. And then therefore, it's giving us clues that we're in what's called alignment. Okay, So we started to close outside of it, all right, on the mother bar. So then there we go, gold, boom, new high, new high, new high. All right, Nvidia looking good here for long call, day trade wise. Okay. Already missed a little bit of a pullback here on the 2-minute time frame. But if I'm looking at long call in the video, the location on the video is still inside of that weekly level. It went a little bit more deeper yesterday on a gap down. But this will be a day trade for NVIDIA. I'm already missing it a little bit here. You know, answering some questions. But I'm not saying that in a bad way. But let me see if I pick up, say, the 120 strike. It's going for about an easy $3 there. NVIDIA long call. February 7th expiration. This will be a day trade. All right, got a 306 fill personally here. Let's just lock that up. All right, I'll leave one unfloating so y'all can see. Right, I bought it in green at 306. It's going, selling for 305 right now. Just got in. A little bit of a better entry on that. I'll check Carvana. I graduated Carvana on my watch list. So while I'm letting SPYs and Qs and S&Ps and NASDAQ futures iron itself out a little bit here, I can try to attack strength. If holding bids, check VIX. Advanced declines literally on the 0 line. Vol D slightly up, but not extreme. VIX on lows, a bit more bullish. Carvana. So Carvana is in the supply, but a couple times it's been tested. We are at supply on it, but we have a nice little decent level there. Yeah, good job, Sean. That's giving us a clue as well. See if there's follow through on that coming out of this kind of range. Carvana, let's see. NVIDIA pushing back a little bit there. I see CVNA. The spread on this is going to be annoying. All right, but if you want to pick up some Carvana long call, 260 strike for a day trade, you know, they're going for about $4. I'll pick a little up here on that. The spread is annoying on this, so be careful with that. All right, got filled at 390 personally here for the 260 strike call. Long call, Carvana.com. All right, 390 fill. They're going for about $4 right now. It is coming up to some daily supply that got tagged a couple times. So that's the one caveat on this one here. So it's a bit aggressive. I'll make a note there. All right, so I'll manage this. Okay, you can see we already dipped down off that. So just be extremely careful with that one there. And I got to it a little bit late. So I do too much crazy size there on that. All right, we got some stuff up here. So that's going to be one that you want to be just be a little cautious on. Netflix, Tesla. Tesla giving us a decent long. Came lower down on the weekly. It's still inside of that weekly bar. Kind of crazy, but 1, 2, 3. This is like the third, fourth week, man, where Tesla just cannot make a move. There's still value in these the debit. Friday had a good trade on Tesla. Try to work on it for a bigger move. Couldn't quite get it. See if we get down. Google earnings tonight. Spies. It's been 15 minutes, opening day's range, but you can see Spies not doing anything right now. Not surprising one bit. Pulling some anchored VWAPs off the open. Q's tech was a little stronger. We're gonna get to unfilled gap. Q's got a nice little positive COG. Long Q's. Amazon choppy off the open. Choppy. Microsoft, one of the weaker ones, has wide range bar open on the 2-minute time frame here. So Microsoft, if you want to attack weakness, it would be Microsoft. Meta is one of the weaker ones, but we got to put that into perspective too, because Meta's one of the stronger overall. But Meta's off the open here, one of the weaker ones. All right, and see, AMD is just hard to trust. Failure, wide range bar failure. But Microsoft's down here location-wise at this bottom range. It's not the greatest level of demand in the world, but this has been holding up low range for like half of last year. So, you know, I'm still probably in a sell put environment on Microsoft. So it's just a little tough lickings right now. Other than gold, gold's lined up beautifully. Hold your cards tight, folks. Q's in the 60-30. There you go, you got some Oxy. Yeah, we got news at 10 as well. So It's not closed yet, but this would be a decent close. What are we on the 60-minute time frame? That's not going to close until 10:30, so we get the first 30-minute bar here. This will give us some kind of clue. We have JOLTS data at 10 a.m., so just be patient, folks. You know, you can even see S&P futures just meandering as mentioned, just is what it is. It's gold's world right now. Yeah, so I'll just try to plant some swings, wait for some levels. Amazon trying to do something here out of this basing, choppy. The one that Carvana, we have to be a little careful with. Floating down just a little bit. So yeah, I'm gonna transition. Amazon. I'd keep Amazon on the list there. Netflix finally broke out Mother Bar there. See, XOM came right back down into this monthly, weekly level again. XOM decent. But the oil sector has been all over the place. All right, Q's trying to go here. 11 minutes, we got news. I didn't pull the trigger on Tesla. I'm not going to be able to manage anything with y'all. Maybe it's the Q trade, NASDAQ futures. You did tomorrow's expiration potentially for Qs if you picked up, say, the 523 strike call, assuming VIX is on lows, close to it. Those are going for about, if you pick up the 523, those are going for about 266. I'll dip my toe in a little bit here. We have news in 10 minutes, though. I'm not going to be able to be here to manage this with y'all. You can see Carvana's down about $1, so manage that aggressively. NVIDIA hovering a little bit there, 284 in terms of the options premium price. I'll sneak into a little QQQ calls here, but I'm going to manage these super aggressive. Tomorrow's expiration, the 5th. Fed 223, they're going for about 250. Small size. Kind of dip your toe, entry in real quick, not diving in. Got filled at 251 in terms of the premium price there. So little light Q long action here, bullish. Just touched that gap fill there from Friday to Monday, but extremely careful with this one. All right. Other than that, folks, let me see, I'll give you some stop losses here. On call. Small bullish. On call day trade. Aggressive management. If this makes a new low on day, I'm just going to get out. Just get out of it. Carvana looking decent. All right, so stop loss is going to be essentially, if this thing does not, like I said, if nothing's really following through, if it makes a new, probably down here, if it makes a new, fills that little baby gap there, and if it comes down here, I'm just going to cut this out. This will be stop loss. So I want to give a little room here. But I'm going to give you all some risk stop loss areas, right? So stop loss. 250-ish. 251, I should say. All right, Carvana just made new high. All right, so those options are trying to go there. All right, S&P is trying to go there. NVIDIA new high. Trying to go. All right, Qs if you want to TP some there. Oh, we got news. All right, you could TP some Qs there for a quick little scalpy scalp. All right, got filled at 273. So bought him at 251, sold him at 273. A little scalpy scalp. Nothing to write home about. NVIDIA, yep, fix him, got a nice little bar close there. Just made NVIDIA new high. So yeah, you can TP some here too. There goes NVIDIA a bit there. Nothing too crazy, but you know, typically I'd stay here and manage this, but let's TP some NVIDIA too. All right, little scalpy. Wait, why the premium? So the premium's not pumping as much though. So that's not good. So I didn't get a good fill on that. Carvana is about at break even. So we need another. We need a bit more of a pump there. Probably because I hit market and tried, you know, market makers. I didn't get a good fill on that. Looks like. We'll see. Looking good though the tape, but as I mentioned earlier in the session, you know, I got to manage things a little bit more aggressively. QTP. I'm going to TP some more Qs here. All right, we're going for about 280 now. Carvana's up on premium there if you were looking at that too. All right, it's going to be QQQs. All right, I got 283 fill on the premium. All right, let's see if NVIDIA is, NVIDIA could TP some of NVIDIA. It's not a lot here, but again, as I mentioned this morning, it's hard to get some things going here, so we get some news too. So I'm still in this, but here's a minute TP here, publicly here, on some of this. I just got a 324 fill on NVDA. All right, so that's my time for now, folks. Remember, there's news at 10, so just TP, as you can see, taking some profit, and you know, be patient. It's even clipping it's clipping more here. Pretty much decent there. All right, and then Carvana.com. Spread's going to be annoying with this one here, so I'll see some of y'all later today in the class, and then tomorrow, God willing, for the live trade room. We spend hours. All right, the spread is what's killing Carvana. That's the thing. So it's up where we got in, but the spread is going to be a challenge on that. So but other than that, yeah, Nvidia looking decent too. All right, news at 10. If you want to learn a little bit more about that, you can hit up TradePhantoms.com. Okay, TradePhantoms.com, and then if you hit register, name, email, all that stuff. This Thursday, February the 6th. February already, kind of crazy. 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Mr. Green, Mr. Blue, Mr. Green, or Mr. Black will host about 90-day, give or take. What do they call it? A workshop type deal, whatever they call it these days. Here's the agenda. Y'all can read that. All right, we're doing this quite some time. We got some phantoms in here already. So, you know, if it's good, if it's for you, great. If it's not for you, that's cool as well if you're new here. So, all good. We're still going to do our thing. Y'all know, my phantoms know the deal. All right, another day, another dollar. Holla. I'll see y'all soon. God bless. Trade safe. Blue out.